Hey guys, it's Kat and I am back today to talk about products that I've used up over the last 2 months or so. So these are all my empties. So I've used up all these products in my project pan and just in my everyday life. And this is where I like to go through, before I throw them out or recycle them, I go through and I tell you what I think about the product, like I give a mini review and let you know if I would repurchase the product or not. Now I do have a whole bunch of stuff. I think I've put this off. Usually I do these videos every 6 weeks or so. I definitely know that this has incorporated 2 project pan updates. So there's quite a few empties just in that alone. Generally, I talk about my project pan products at the very end of this video. So if you are watching my project pan series and you want to know if I would repurchase any of the products that I've recently used up, they'll probably be towards the end because they often sink right down to the bottom. So that's what I'm doing today. Speaking of project pan, everything on my face is project pan except for my eyeshadows. I'm using this gorgeous little Viseart. This is the Paris Edit palette, and so far I'm obsessed with it. Like, it's quite a cool toned mauvey pinky nude palette, but it is gorgeous. So I'm wearing that today and I'm loving it. So that's what I'm wearing on my face. I am in a different setup. I'm in my nursing chair in my messy baby office changing room, nursing room thing, only because my lounge room is a bomb and it's nicely heated in here at the moment. So this is where I want to be. All right, let's start with skincare products. I always like to start with the big bulky things to get them out of the way. I do have quite a lot of big bulky things, so let's jump right into it. First thing is actually a cheeky thing. This is not really something that I used up myself. I probably only used 5 or 10% of this. My partner actually used this up mostly. So this is the Bioderma Atoderm cream. It's ultra nourishing cream. It's for normal to dry sensitive skin. It's fragrance free. It's designed for like babies through to children through to adults. And my partner likes to use this on his face. So he's gone through quite a few of these. I sometimes steal it and put it on my like legs or something, so I have used a little bit of it, but mainly it was him. Unfortunately, there was a bit left. You can see just as it settled in the in this sort of bag that I can't get out. It's very hard to get it out, but I would definitely repurchase this for my partner because, like I said, I think he's gone through like 4 of these big tubes and he is always like, "Can you get me another one, please?" So that is one that is popular in our household. I recently used up this Bio Oil Dry Skin Gel. I actually used this up, I think, only last week. I really like this. So as I've said 1,000 times now, had a baby about a month ago. So throughout the last year or something, I've been using a lot of body oils, a lot of body lotions. So I've been using up a lot of those products in my empties recently. And this is probably the product that I liked the most out of all the body oils and body lotions that I've tried. And this is the one that I would definitely repurchase. So Bio Oil, like I've got Bio Oil, I've used Bio Oil. I find oils good for the skin, but also sort of messy to apply, quite greasy, quite inconvenient. But this was a gel, so essentially this was just a tub of gel. This is a large tub. You can get smaller tubs as well. You can't see anything because I used it all up, but it is a gel that sort of melts into an oil. So it's not as if it's a gel with a gel consistency. It still has an oily consistency, but it applies like a gel. I really enjoyed it. Didn't stop me from getting stretch marks. Nothing did. But this is something that I would repurchase. I got this from Chemist Warehouse. Next time I go to Chemist Warehouse, I'll buy another one. And I am sort of working towards using up all my body lotions at the moment, so I can sort of primarily just stick to this because I like the format of it. I think it worked well for an oil that is quite nourishing. It didn't feel too heavy and gross on the skin because, again, it's that gel sort of format. I don't know, something about it I really liked. So if you like Bio Oil, you'll probably like this. I'm not a huge Bio Oil fan and I'm a huge fan of this. So well done, Bio Oil. Something that I probably wouldn't repurchase, and I did have high hopes. I actually have 2 things from this range. So I'll talk about them both at the same time. These are both Dermalogica body products. So I think a few months ago or end of last year, they released or they re-released their body line, and I think there were 4 products in it. So I've got the oil. So this is the Phyto Replenish body oil. It's got bergamot, orange blossom, and yeah, that's what it smells like. It smelled, yeah, I don't know, it just smelled it did have a bit of an orange scent to it. sort of smelled spicy, and it was quite strong, and I didn't mind the oil. It was nothing amazing. What I really hated was this jar. So as you can see, it's got a pory, like it's just open. It's just like a spout, something that you would put, I don't know, olive oil or something in, and you just have to sort of pour it out. It's not very precise. You always over pour. It always sort of drips down your hands. It's very, very messy. The oil I didn't love. I thought it sort of stayed really, really greasy, if that makes sense. Not really, really greasy. That's a bit dramatic. It was an oil that didn't really sink into the skin very quickly. It sort of stayed on the skin. I found the scent to be quite strong and overpowering for what I normally like. So, and the packaging just drove me crazy. I really want this to be in a pump or like a smaller applicator, something that's better. These are really expensive products, and I just would not bother repurchasing this. I would so much more prefer to repurchase the gel from Bio Oil because I think I saw better results and I just prefer the format of it. This was, in my opinion, a bit of a disappointment. This conditioning body wash, which is from the same range, I'm trying to hold it up here so you can see that it's Dermalogica. This is eucalyptus and lavender. I didn't mind this. This actually lasted quite a long time. It doesn't look like a big body wash. It looks pretty small. It's like 295 mils, but yeah, it did have a very strong lavender scent. I think a little bit went a long way with this, so it did foam up quite nicely. It does have more of a, I guess, unisex sort of traditional scent. It's not like anything fun. It sort of smells like, yeah, eucalyptus and lavender. I'm not a huge lavender fan, but I've sort of come around to not minding it in the evenings, which is when I have a shower anyway. So I understand that this has that sort of calming property. So it was smelled very plant-like with the eucalyptus as well. But again, for the money, I just didn't think this was anything outstanding or something that I would rush to repurchase. I would use it again if it came across my desk, but I'm not going to purchase this. So for me, the Dermalogica body range, I much prefer their skincare range to their body range. That's just me. Something that I probably would repurchase. This is from the brand the Saem, I think it's called. It's Saem. This is a Korean product. This is the Urban Delight Body Salt Scrub Wash. So this was a body scrub. You can see that it was a blue color. The one thing I didn't like was the jar. This is a very heavy glass jar, and even though it's great because you can recycle it, I sort of feel like it was a bit of a waste having like such heavy duty glass in something that you tend to go through pretty quickly. Like I tend to go through body scrubs pretty quickly. I did like this scrub though. Had a very sort of ocean scent to it. So like a sea breeze, ocean breeze type scent. I don't really get the Urban Delight. Doesn't smell urban to me, but if this was called like Ocean Delight, I totally understand it. It was nice and fresh. It was a salt scrub. It was quite thick. It's one of the ones that you sort of scoop out. I did like the product. It does sort of foam up a little bit and act like a body wash. I enjoyed using it, but again, I sort of would have preferred a bigger tub that wasn't so scared to drop in the shower. Like if I dropped this, it'd be a nightmare. So I don't know. So yeah, I like the insides. I don't like the outsides. I thought it was a bit of a waste of glass. But the product was quite nice. So if I saw this on sale or whatever, I would probably pick it up again. But I just would have preferred more scrub and less packaging. I don't know if you guys care about candles, but I did use up a candle. This is from Circa Homes, which is essentially a brand under the same company that owns Glasshouse candles. So if you like Glasshouse candles, which they're my favorite candles, Circa Homes have a similar sort of quality to their candles, but different scents. I think it's different wax as well from what I remember. These are soy candles. I don't know if Glasshouse are soy candles. So yeah, different, but similar sort of thing. Anyway, this was the 1959 Blood Orange candle. This is the second one I've had of this candle. I love it so much. This is definitely my favorite Circa Homes candle. If you like citrus, the Blood Orange is just really beautiful. It's really, really intense, but also sweet and sort of zingy. So I love it. Used it up. Again, these are one of those types of candles that have a really strong scent to them and a really strong scent throw. So you can light them for literally 10 minutes and it will make your whole house sort of smell really nice. So yeah, really, really nice candle. would repurchase. All right, more skincare. I'll try to make this fast because I've got quite a few products to talk about and I don't want this to go for an hour. So let's run through this really quickly. I've got more body products because again, I was hitting up a lot of the body lotions. This is the Palmer's Cocoa Butter Formula massage cream for stretch marks. I also, in a previous Empties, used up the tub, like the sort of body butter tub version of this. I don't think this I don't think this did too much. I wouldn't repurchase it. I do think the tub did a lot more, but again, that was a really firm product. That was really hard to dig out of the tub. So that one had problems, but I think that worked a lot better than this. This just sort of felt like a basic body lotion. So yeah, I didn't think it lived up to the claims. In my last Empties, I used up 2 Tatcha moisturizers and I said that I really liked them. But I just wasn't sure if they were worth the money because they're very, very expensive. Now, I used up my last product that I had from them, which is this Luminous Dewy Skin Night Concentrate. Now, I didn't like this as much as the moisturizers. This was pretty expensive. This was sort of like, I actually have a little bit left in there because I wanted to show you what it was like. This is sort of like I want to say a jelly, like a gel, like a panna cotta sort of consistency where it is like a gel, but it's like a really loose gel. I'm just dropping it all over my clothes. And then as you sort of disrupt the product, by the next time you use it, it sort of settles completely to a flat line. So yeah, it's like a jelly gel product, a hybrid between a jelly and a gel. It's not completely set, but it feels like a jelly. So this was a really weird sort of, it's not a moisturizer, it's like a concentrate. So it would be like a serum type product. I just didn't really get it. I don't think it did much. I used it for the longest time because a little does go a long way. It was weird to use. It was quite light on the skin. So I sort of thought that a Dewy Skin Night Concentrate would be quite hydrating and quite maybe a bit thicker. But this was, I don't know, I don't think it did anything. So I wouldn't repurchase this. I much preferred the moisturizers over this. This was just a bit confusing. It's supposed to be hydrating and revitalizing. Yeah, I didn't see it. I didn't see it personally. Now, when I did actually use up the 2 moisturizers from Tatcha, I was really excited to start delving into some moisturizers that I had put aside that I wanted to try. And one was from, I think it's called Mizon or Mizon. It is Mizon. Again, it's a Korean brand. I've got a few products from this range and like they do a lot of Snail repair type products. And I thought this multi-function formula all-in-one Snail repair cream, I was like, okay, I'll start using that as a nighttime moisturizer and see how I go with it. Now, the problem was I didn't find this again, sort of moisturizing or hydrating enough. So this was quite a thin formula. Again, I've got a little bit down the bottom so I can sort of show you, but I just found that when I applied this, it was so thin that it sort of disappeared. And I tend to put my skincare on maybe like an hour or 2 before I go to bed. And I just found that maybe within half an hour of putting my skincare on, I really felt like I needed to go back and put another layer of moisturizer on. So I was trying to use this as a moisturizer. I felt like it wasn't doing enough for my skin. It is winter at the moment. I do get a bit dehydrated. It is, I'm in heating and whatnot. So I sort of want something that's not too greasy and heavy, but I also want something that gives me a lot of moisture and hydration. And I just found that this didn't do it. So what I ended up doing was using it on my neck and chest. So yeah, when I use something up on my body, you know that I don't like it. And it's not something I would repurchase. So unfortunately, I didn't love that either. Another thing I didn't love, and I actually had really high hopes for this, and I was really keen to use it, and I'm really bummed that I didn't get along with it. It's actually from NIOD, which is a brand under the Deciem umbrella. They also create The Ordinary and a few other brands like that. And this is their sort of like premium skincare brand. And generally, I really like their products because they have a lot of science behind them. There's a lot of innovative technology and they generally give really good results. Now, this is a new copper amino isolate lipid 1%. They do have a copper amino isolate serum, which is very, very popular. I think it's the most popular thing in their range. I have used it a few years ago. I did see good results. So I was very excited to see this. So it's the same sort of concept, but it's in a lipid formula. So it's like a gel, like an oil gel. So I'll try to get a little bit out. The copper is a blue. So you can see that this is the product. The serum was blue. This sort of gel oil, which is really, really nice and sort of really nourishing. You can see it's like this reminds me a little bit of the consistency of the bio oil. Like it's a gel that turns into an oil, which is really nice. I really like this concept. And I'm sure it works really well. The only reason I didn't like it was because it actually irritated my skin a little bit. I have a patch of like contact dermatitis on my eye here, and I get it like under there as well. And I just found it flared up with this. So whenever I used this, I would get like an inflamed sort of red itchy part of my eye and also on my cheek, and I just couldn't use it. So I ended up using this on my body because I didn't want it to go to waste. It's a very expensive product. It's such a waste using it that way, and it really breaks my heart. But I didn't want it to go to waste. I didn't want to throw it out, but I also didn't want to put it on my face knowing that it aggravates my contact dermatitis. So this could be a really lovely product. If I could clear up my skin issues, I would definitely want to give this a go again because I love the concept of it. I love the brand. And generally these products do work really well for me. I also tried to avoid the eye area completely. But when I put this on at night and you're like, you know, sleeping on your pillow and you're rolling over, that was enough to sort of irritate it. I even found that if I put it too high on my neck, it was enough to irritate my eye. So this was something that I sort of used up in larger areas just to use it up and sort of give my body a bit of a treat. But I wish I could have used it properly because I think it could have been a really good product. One product that I've had multiple times over the years, and I do have a backup of this. I also have a different type from a different brand, so I love these products, but I don't use them too much. But this is the Mario Badescu drying lotion. I really, look, I swear by this product. I think it's one of the best or the best pimple drying products I've ever tried. I think this is my third bottle. Like I said, I do have a backup under my sink. This one's been going for quite some time, and you can see that it's right down to the bottom with the liquid. Essentially, that pink stuff is what you put on the pimple, and the liquid is just something that stops it from drying out because this bottom area will dry out. It's a drying lotion after all. So I could keep going with it, but this is past its use by date. I've had it for so long that I thought, look, I'm sort of down the bottom with it, and I've got a fresh one in a cupboard, so why use this? But this is a product that I like to use if I have a lot of breakouts. I haven't been having too many breakouts recently, so it's not something I reach for. But when you do get one of those sort of erupting, sort of messy, painful breakouts, I always reach for this. My partner knows to reach for it when he's got breakouts as well. It works a treat. It doesn't dry out the skin around the pimple, but it does like dry out and suck out and calm down the actual pimples. So yeah, this is a great product. I always have it in my cupboard. Again, this is like my third bottle. They take me years to go through. I've been using it for years and years and years, and I've got a backup under my sink. I do want to clarify though that doesn't work on blackheads or cystic acne. It only works on the sort of whitehead, sort of not above the skin, but like right under the skin or erupted kind of breakouts. So I get those type of breakouts around that time of the month. They're hormonal, so that's when I sort of reach for this, and it works an absolute treat. All right, some smaller things. This is actually a full size. These are minis, but we'll talk about them all together. This is from Fourth Ray Beauty, so it's Colourpop skincare brand. This is the watermelon seed oil. I thought this was a pretty cheap oil. It didn't feel like, again, that it was very nourishing. It sort of felt like it was sat on top of the skin. It was kind of, it didn't feel very hydrating or like, yeah, nourishing. It sort of just felt like it was covering your face with oil. So again, I use this as a body oil to get rid of it. So I wouldn't repurchase that. I didn't really see the point of it. I'm currently trying to use up some samples. As I sort of cleaned out my bathroom a little while ago, I found a whole stash of samples. So what I might start doing in my Project Pan series is incorporating some samples every month. And these ones were some that I wanted to target recently. So I used up the John Plunkett's Essentials Super Wrinkle Cream. This was just like a moisturizer. They say it's an intensive night nourishing cream for dry skin. I actually don't have dry skin. I don't need heavy moisturizers, but I actually found this to be quite lightweight. So I don't really get the intensive night nourishing thing. If you've got really dry skin, I don't think this will be good enough, but it was just a nice basic moisturizer. Ooh, dropping it. But based on the sample, I didn't think it was anything special, so I wouldn't purchase the full size, but I don't mind this brand. Another thing I wouldn't purchase based on the sample is this L'Occitane little mini moisturizer. This is the Immortelle Divine Creme. It was a much thicker moisturizer than that John Plunkett one, that's for sure. It was quite a thick little moisturizer in here. But the scent was so obnoxious. There's something about it. It reminds me of something that I just can't pinpoint, but I just found that I was putting it on my face and I used it a couple of times and it was almost like lingering and a little bit nauseating. So I ended up having to use this as like a hand cream. So that's not something I would use. I might keep this little jar though. It might be good for little samples or to take things traveling, because that's a really like hefty little jar. My God, for a sample, very hefty jar. All right, on to Project Pan stuff. And again, I'm going to try to run through this really quickly because I've been here for too long. And I've talked about these before in Project Pan, so you kind of have an idea of what I think about these. Firstly, I've got a Batiste dry shampoo. This is the Damage Control dry shampoo. It says it's an invisible formula. It's not. It does leave a white cast, so I probably wouldn't repurchase this just because I prefer one that's tinted brown, so it's not so obvious in my hair. But otherwise, I thought it was okay. I don't think it controlled any damage, but you know, it was a fine dry shampoo. I also used up the La Roche-Posay Toleraine softening foaming gel. I really liked this. Lasted a long time. It foamed up really nicely. It was gentle on the skin. It was really effective at removing sort of makeup and whatnot without sort of stripping my skin. So I totally would repurchase this. I did like it. I used up the Sunsense. This is the anti-aging face SPF 50+. I've used a couple of these in my time. I do like it. SPF 50+ right now, I don't really need. It's winter and I'm stuck inside a lot. So I wouldn't repurchase this anytime soon, but I do really like it as just a high SPF sunscreen because it doesn't sort of leave me greasy. It works well under makeup and over the top of skincare, so I do like this. But I prefer just the original basic one in the range with the blue label, but this was fine. The hyaluronic acid from The Ordinary, I didn't think it was amazing. As a hyaluronic acid, it's not my favorite one I've tried, but there was nothing particularly wrong with it. So even though I probably wouldn't go out of my way to repurchase this, it was fine. I used up the Mecca Cosmetica Makeup Perfecting Mist. I didn't think this was particularly amazing finishing spray or setting mist. It was just a thing, so I probably wouldn't repurchase that. I've tried a lot better. I used up the Shiseido Radiant Powder. I did actually quite like the powder. It wasn't super radiant, but it did leave a little bit of luminosity to the skin. I just found that I went through this really, really quickly because I need quite a lot of powder to set my face, and I think this is more for people with dry skin that just want a little like brush of powder, because yeah, I used this up within about a month and a half. One thing that I hated about this, and it would stop me from repurchasing it at all in the future, is simply the packaging. So I had to cut away the mesh to use it. So when I mentioned that this was in a fails because I really didn't like the mesh, a few people were like, I've used that type of mesh, it's fine, you just have to do blah, 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 blah. I've tried powders with mesh over the top, and this is not even traditional mesh. This is like me taking my top and putting that over a powder and expecting somehow that those tiny holes through my top, you're going to actually get product through. This was not, a mesh with loose holes in it, like most powders that you find. This was like really, really, really thick legging sort of material. So I had to cut it out to actually access the product, which was really frustrating. For the price of this, I expect a lot better. And also, like I said, the powder, look, there was some nice luminosity to it. I'm not sure if you can see the powder down the bottom. It did reflect a bit of light. It was quite nice, but it was just not really worth the price. Flower Beauty Concealer. So this was the Light Illusion Full Coverage Concealer. My shade was L3 to 4 Light. I wasn't super impressed by this. It did sort of crease a little bit under my eyes. It didn't work with every foundation. Sometimes it's sort of like, I don't know, sort of balled up on itself a little bit. It wasn't a bad concealer, but I've just tried a lot better. So for me, I wouldn't repurchase that. For my lip balm, this is the Sephora Watermelon Lip Balm. It was just a nice lip balm, nothing fantastic, nothing bad. I like watermelon, it was fine. So yeah, again, if I came across this and it was on sale, I'd probably be fine picking it up and using it, but I wouldn't like seek it out. It wasn't super nourishing to the lips. Definitely didn't dry out the lips, which is good. I know some lip balms that actually, the more you use it, the more your lips dry out. This wasn't one of those, which is great, but it wasn't like a really luxurious, you know, lip balm, but at the same time, it was a Sephora brand one, so it was fine. I used up the Illamasqua. This is the, I think it was a medium pencil. I'll have to put the name in the description box because it was like a nude lip liner or multi-purpose pencil. It was fine. I enjoyed the color. The color was really nice for my tone of lips, so I enjoyed using it, but there was nothing special about the pencil. It wasn't super dry, but it wasn't super creamy. It was just sort of like your standard lip pencil. It was fine, nothing amazing. I also used up the Brow Contour Pro from Benefit. This is one of those clicky pens. It's got 2 brow colors and 2 sort of highlighting flesh colors. I didn't use the flesh colors at all, or I use them occasionally. I didn't use them very often, but I used up the 2 brow products, and I wouldn't repurchase this for a couple of reasons. One, I only used half the pen because I don't use highlighting pens on my brows. I don't use nude colored eyeliners very often on my waterline, so this, I didn't have any use for the nude ones. If you're the type of person that really likes to sculpt your brows and define them with a concealer or a nude pencil, you might like this concept, but for me, that part of the pencil completely went to waste. Also, I found that the size of the pencil was a bit funny. It was sort of in between a filling in pencil and also a micro pencil, so it wasn't quite thick enough to fill in your brows properly, but it wasn't thin enough to be able to mimic hairs, so it was sort of like that weird in between. So yeah, it wasn't my favorite Benefit brow product. I wouldn't repurchase it, but I do like Benefit brow pencils, just this was not targeted to me, I guess. All right, so those are my empties for the last 6 to 8 weeks or so. If you missed any of the names of the products that I mentioned and you want to know what they are, I will have them listed in the description box. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one and hope you have a great day. Bye.